To the untrained eye, I might just be walking through a bunch of long grass. But to be honest, I'm surrounded by a bunch of useful plants. This here's Lamandra. It grows in southern Australia, and it's just got an abundance of uses. For starters, it's edible. The white base of the stem can be eaten. It tastes a little bit like a nutty raw pea. Another one of its uses is you can use it to make string and twine. Now, one way to make string is you want about 3 strands, and this is one method of making string. Put them together, fold it in half, and pinch the tip. And what you want to do is twist outwards like that, and then fold it inwards. Twist outwards. See how I'm twisting? And then fold it inwards. Now I've got the string there, and if you're starting to run out of cordage, you can simply add it in, add extra strands in, but you put the extra strand in between and just keep twisting as normal. And what happens is that it'll eventually twist in, and it'll still be just as strong as before. And then once you're finished, you just tie it. Just a simple granny knot. And then that is fully flexible. You can you can tie it in a knot, and this won't break very easily. And when you're walking, it's always good to keep an eye out for bugs. As you know, bugs contain 4 times more protein than red meat. But there's certain features of a bug that you should stay away from. Take this for instance. Moving very slow, so there's no need to escape. Very camouflaged, but also, have a look at that. See the bright red and blue? So the fact that they're slow moving and they're very bright would basically be a sign saying these are dangerous. So do not eat them. Once again, alright, see this? An old empty bottle, found it near the creek. You can turn this. Is absolutely incredible in a survival situation. First of all, you can use it to carry water. You can also use it to boil water in, but today we're going to use it as a shrimp trap or a small fish trap. So what you do is you want to cut the top off it. Try to cut the top off it. Alright, there goes the top. Lost it. Once you got the top off, you want to take off the lid. And it's pretty easy. All you got to do is put it in like that. Now you can use some resin, some glue, or even put another few holes in it and use string to secure the top. And what happens is you put it in a fast flowing bit of water, like around 2 rocks, preferably where the water flow narrows, and fish and shrimp will swim in and they can't actually get out. So you also want to put a few little holes, very small ones, or even slits in the very bottom to allow the water to go through, so there's an actual flow. One thing about survival is keeping the mind occupied. And one way you can do that is by just making things. So I'm making a spoon. Doesn't look like much now, but you'll see what it's like when it's finished. Alright, so that's the spoon. You can sort of see how it's taken shape. It's pretty basic, but does the trick. Just got to make sure you do it out of dry wood, and make sure the wood's not like from a poisonous tree or anything like that, because then you're going to find yourself in a little bit of strife. And now all I'm doing is just making the actual spoon bit thinner and smoother by shaving little bits off like that. Alright, so we've got the shelter. Now we need a fire to cook on and to keep you warm. Now what you want to do when you're starting a fire, I'm just going to be lazy and use a flint rod. Got it. And that's how you get the fire started. Alright, in the wild, the main thing about survival is utilising nature. So, you know, it's starting to get a bit dark, and in about an hour's time it'll be pitch black. Not enough time to build a shelter, or you don't really want to build a shelter when you've got a perfect overhang here. And all you really need to do is get rid of some of the rocks. Be careful of spider webs. And in Australia, redback spiders are going to love this spot, so you just want to give it a good sweep down. Make sure you get rid of any nasties, and pretty much you've got your house. It's not going to be overly comfortable. It's rough, but and that's enough to keep you dry. Alright, so when you've got a lake like this, it's stagnant. You know, if you drink out directly out of it, you're at risk of a lot of waterborne parasites. One simple way, if you haven't got anything to boil the water in, you can just dig a hole, and what will happen is it's not the safest way, but it's safer than drinking out of that, and the water will filter through the sand. It's similar to drinking out of a well. So here's a natural sort of shovel, and you just dig down. It's a pain in the neck because it's sand, so every time you take a bit out, a bit more goes in. Alright, you'll notice there's a pool of water now. And what you do is, it's all murky now, but if you just leave it and let all the sediment go down, it'll become clear. And that should be safer to drink out of. So it is a little bit clearer now. Still, it's not ideal, but it should filter through at least some of the parasites and bacteria. You're still at risk of E. coli, Giardia, Salmonella, all the bad things, but it should be a little bit safer. Still, it'd be much better if you boil it or put Condy's crystals or something in it. But one thing you can do to just sort of remove all the sediment and stuff is drink it through something. So this is the buff or head sock. So if I just put it up against my mouth, I can drink through it, and this will actually filter out all the sediment and rocks and sand and just all the bits that you don't want to swallow. So just get down low and go, go, go. What I will actually do is save me holding it. Put it around like that. Just thinking. Oh. Oh. So it tastes a little bit muddy, but it's drinkable. Alright, so we're just walking along and there's a pool, little pool here, fresh water, and it's got some little minnow, which are tiny little fish. And you can't see them now because they're under the rock, but this is where you've got to use your imagination. I've got a buff, which is essentially a head sock. It's got a few holes in it because I burnt it last night. But what we can do is tie a knot in one end and use it like a net. And hopefully, if we're lucky, we should be able to catch some. We got the knot. You should be able to scoop them up like that. Now we put the stick underneath and hopefully scare them all out from under the rock. Alright, so we were successful with the net, the makeshift innovative net. We caught two little tiny fish. They are alive. They were alive. But anyway, yeah, so with these guys, just because they're so small, you don't really have to cook them up. So you can just eat them raw. So yeah, you just got to sort of guzzle them down. Nasty. But this one's hard to catch. They're high in protein and oh, don't want to lose him. And they won't exactly fill you up, but it's a bit of nutrition. Not particularly appetizing, but what can I say? To survive, you need an even balance of fear and knowledge. Too much fear equals to panic and indecision, and that's where you're going to find yourself in a lot of trouble. Too much knowledge leads to a big ego. That's also going to find you in a lot of trouble. A nice even balance between fear and knowledge, and that's how you're going to get out. In every single survival situation, there are 5 priorities: water, warmth, shelter, and signalling, and food. Food is the only one that always stays at the bottom. You can go up to 3 weeks without having anything to eat. You can only go 3 days without water. You can go a matter of hours without adequate warmth. Shelter, you need to keep warm and dry. And you need signalling to get rescued.